Welcome back to Virtually Vikings radio show, the half-hour program that will be discussing all things St. John's River State College. Each week, we'll be spotlighting a new degree or program, events, or resources that are offered through the college. I'm your host, Nikki Johns, and today I'm joined by Mr. Royce Bass, the Dean of Learning Resources, and the topic will be St. John's River State College's Academic Support Center and the resources available to students. Thank you so much for joining me today, Royce.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So let's start with kind of you and your background. What is your role here at St. John's River State College? What is exactly as the Dean of Learning Resources?
My current role is the Dean of Learning Resources, which I don't expect a lot of people to know what that entails. But it's overseeing the libraries on all three campuses, Palatka, St. Augustine, and Orange Park, as well as our academic support centers, aka tutor centers. Also on the Palatka campus, we have student athletes, and so we schedule their study hall hours to ensure that they get the support that they need or want. And so I oversee their scheduling as well.
And then how long specifically have you been at the college? I know you were in
Ms.
more
Johns,
than just this role.
I've been here so long. My first car was a horse. You know, it's I mean, I had a cart. I'm going to turn my phone down because I could just see someone calling as we're midway. But I've been here a long, long time. So I can't even believe it. So, but thank you for pointing it out, how old I am.
Oh, hush. It's not that long. I'm super excited about the Academic Support Center. I have to admit, when I was a student here, I didn't take advantage of it, and I loved pushing students towards it. But they always ask, what exactly is that? Could you explain what we're talking about when we say the Academic Support Center?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I was just like you, Ms. Johns. I wish I would have taken advantage of the math tutoring. I remember seeing it. I knew where it was located, but instead I went the opposite direction and spent way too long by myself trying to figure out my college algebra, my pre-calc, my calc class, and a lot of tears were shed, a lot of frustration. And if I would just went in there, I would have received not only help figuring out the problems and kind of understanding the rationale behind that, the big picture, but also having that support system too. So at each campus, we offer a math tutoring room with a full-time math tutor and a writing tutoring room or center with a writing full-time tutor as well. And then we have other tutoring in different disciplines, depending on the location and schedule, and we'll get into that later. But I look at those folks that they're not just providing the X's and O's of how do you solve this equation. It's also instilling upon students a little bit of academic confidence, if you will. Math and writing does not come easy to all of us, and so they never judge. They accept the student where they are and help them get to where they need to be. So.
And I love that. And I love watching the students kind of group up and get the support together. In fact, with this, who exactly has the access to it? Can anybody go in there? Just our students on campus, our online students?
All students that are taking classes at SGR State are eligible. So that would be our adult education, dual enrollment, our AA students, AS students, and of course our bachelor students. And we get a mix of folks. In fact, we found that a lot of our online students or asynchronous students taking classes remotely come to campus just to get that one-on-one tutoring, that face-to-face tutoring, because things like math and their English courses can be challenging, especially if they do not have those skills or need to refresh those skills. They enjoy coming in. So there's quite a few students that come in at all three campuses that their math or their English class is an online class. So yeah, but we're open to anyone who's registered.
And just to reinforce, because the dual enrollment and our early college students on the high school campuses are always shocked they have access. From your mouth, the dual enrollment and our early college high school students, they have access as well.
They have all the rights and privileges that any other SGR state student has. Yes. And we get a number of dual enrollment students. And the collegiate high school students, in my mind, are the same. I know there's a distinction, but they still are, when they come through the doors, they are SGR state students.
I just love having more than one voice say it because they're always
Yeah.
shocked when I say it. So I figured I'd get you to say it too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Get the word out.
I know you said that they could find it in the libraries on our campuses. Is there specific times it's open? Are they open, at night or on the weekends?
For now, the physical rooms, those are open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then we do offer some extended hours towards the end of the semester for final exam prep. And then sometimes we'll have special events throughout the semester. But in general, the face-to-face tutoring is offered Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 p.m.
And within that 8 to 5, do they need to make an appointment before students come in, or can they just walk in?
They can just walk in, first come, first serve. The tutors, it's not just, we have usually several tutors working a shift. The full-time tutors know when the busiest times are, so they try to have extra help before and after those math classes, for example. And so they usually do not have to wait very long. The idea is to not really triage, but go around, have the students, start on their homework assignment or start on what they're working on, and then go around the room as needed. And some students need more one-on-one, and some just need a little bit of support if they get stuck. I know I always recommend students, even if you don't have a list of questions, go in there to do your homework, to do it more efficiently. Work smarter, not harder. And that way, when you get stuck on number 3, instead of spending, a long time trying to figure out where you went wrong, you can ask and then catch your mistake and then move on to the next problem.
You mean don't hang in the Viking Center and struggle? Go get help? What?
No, not just, do not find a quiet corner in the library, which we love having you in the library as well. But that's what I did. Yes, I know. And I think as I've gotten younger, I realize some of the mistakes I made, and I probably, I didn't want to admit I didn't know something, and I'm sure a lot of folks can relate to that. And as we get a little bit younger, we get a lot wiser. And I realize there's no shame in for asking up. And we have a lot of folks, like I said, they're excellent, Calculus 1 students. We even have some Calculus 2 students that go in there. They just like the camaraderie, working together as a study group with some of their peers. They have a relationship with the math tutor. Same thing for the writing centers as well. So it's not just folks that have that are lost. A lot of times they just like to have that support, and then more often not, they develop a rapport with the tutors, whether it's the full-time or part-time tutors. And so it's kind of a little bit of a support system, if you will.
It's often a place I kind of send as an icebreaker. If it's that silly question you're not quite sure of, the students in there, the tutors in there, they're going to have the answer. And then once you got that friend in there, it's easier to go back into. It's often what I suggest with students.
Yeah,
it's good to see that rapport get built over the semesters.
We find that, just like all things, it just takes that one time just to walk through the doors. And I know I won't keep bringing up my past mistakes or learning opportunities, but if I just would have opened the door, that's always the hardest part, is just walking in. And that's why in some of the classes we try to get out into the campus, so that students can meet their tutors, kind of remove that barrier, if you will. And then when there's any tours, I like to bring the students into the tutoring centers and let them meet the tutors and kind of look around. They realize it's a very welcoming place, and you're not going to get jumped on. You can come in, sit down, do your work. It's not like being at one of those department stores where you're just hounded all the time. They'll give you a little space until you need help, so it's a very welcoming place.
which is good. Students always need that. We keep bringing up like writing and math help, and you've even kind of mentioned science. Is there any subject that doesn't specifically get covered, or is there some kind of tutor? And I mean, we have tutorings for most subjects that we offer, correct? How I
That
should
that
word that.
Yes, well, I'll tell you what the tutoring we do have consistently.
Okay.
The math and writing is our our primary focus. The each campus has a science lab coordinator, which part of their job description is they offer tutoring in biological sciences. So those can be 20, 30 hours a week. In addition to that, we have quite a few faculty tutors, and that allows us to offer tutoring in things like humanities, history, Spanish, etc. A lot of our nursing faculty take advantage of this, so they have tutoring office hours, if you will, in those tutoring centers. So it's a nice way for students to get help in their meet with their instructor, but also to get tutored, if you will, in that subject. So it does depend from semester to semester. In general, I always like to say math, science, writing. We usually will have some social sciences, a English instructor or two, depending on what semester it is and which instructors are interested. But we typically can cover the vast majority of those core classes. There's always exceptions, of course, but we have a limited budget, so our primary focus, once again, is providing writing help and math help, if you will, and then supplement that with our faculty tutors, which are experts in the field, and then go from there as well. And we have some other products that we'll talk about later on that help us supplement that coverage.
Well, and you mentioned before how you asked like our Calc 2 students to go with the Calc 1. Is that like a student tutor position? Do we have student tutors in there?
Yes, we have quite a few, and really they're just part-time tutors. Now, a lot of those, I'll give you an example. Up in Orange Park, we had a long-time math tutor, and he went on to attend University of North Florida, but was commuting back to Clay County. So he continued working in the lab or in the math tutoring room throughout his career at UNF. So a lot of those, however, our part-time tutors are students here at SCR State. They do have to meet certain course requirements with a B or higher. It's not necessarily they have to pass Calculus 1 or 2, but they need to pass College Algebra 1 or some of the English courses. It makes sense just to make sure they have, the competency for that. And then they're provided with training too. That is a art unto itself to interact with another student. We always, once again, want to be welcoming. We're not belittling anyone. But some of that's just also trying to know how to help the student help themselves. We don't want to give them the answer. We want to give them the process. So that's part of the training as well. And, it takes a little while to learn that. But yes, we do have at least 2 or 3 ideally part-time tutors, at each campus for the math tutoring room and in the writing tutoring room, depending on the location.
And then for our current students that might be listening that are interested in that, how would they apply? Where do they find those openings at?
You can almost always find a posting because usually we are looking for a part-time tutor at one of the 3 campuses. It may not be your home campus, however, but keep an eye out. If you go to the main SGR State website and go to the employment page, you will see our listings, and they will say which campus, which subject, whether it's math or writing. They'll give you the current rate of pay. Most of our tutoring shifts are up to, or I shouldn't say shifts, but positions are up to 20 hours per week. Not all students work that, of course, depending on what their schedule is. And that's one thing I will tell anyone that's interested in becoming a part-time tutor. We realize that the vast majority of tutors are going to be also students. And so we do our best to work around your schedule, and things do happen. So the pay is very competitive. It's a nice environment, and you're really helping fellow students. It's really rewarding, and a lot of students just find they do better in their coursework as a tutor because they're teaching. And they always say, that's how you learn best, is to teach others. So even if it's a subject or course that they had passed, it may have been a few semesters ago. So it's a good little refresher as well. But if you're interested in applying for a position as a part-time tutor, I would recommend going to the SJR State Employment page. That
Perfect.
has all the job listings.
Which is an awesome resource as far as like on-campus job for students. But specifically to the Academic Support Center, are there other resources besides tutors available? Do we have models for those anatomy and physiology classes? What else can students expect to find in there?
And I will say in the math tutoring rooms, we have graphing calculators that students can use. We also have anatomical models that students can use. Now, depending on which campus they're located, they may be in the library, but we can move them back and forth. We're all part of one big family, so they share those. And then we also, have whiteboards. If I will throw this out there too, if in one of your math or science courses, if you're taking it online and your instructor requires a mirror, whether it's for an environmental check or to have a mirror that's behind you throughout your exam, for academic integrity, we do have mirrors at all 3 campuses, and we can provide you a computer and a quiet place to take your exam. That may not be in the tutoring room. We may relocate you over in the library somewhere to make sure it's quiet for you, but we do offer that. But we have an extensive collection of anatomic models, graphing calculators, as well as whiteboards and mirrors.
Perfect. I always tell students when they're visiting that we make it as hard as possible to fail because we want them to pass. There's so many resources available, especially in that room specifically within the library.
Yes.
You mentioned other resources and products that we'd get to soon. For our online students that just can't come to campus, is there a tutoring option for them?
Absolutely. We just began to offer this new product. It's called BrainFuse. We used a different company last academic year. This is very much like that product. It is a 24/7 online tutoring product. It's live. You meet with a tutor just virtually. Most all the core classes are 24/7. They do offer some very specific classes, which is really cool. Some high-level chemistry, nursing, accounting, and obviously some of those tutors have to be, there's a set schedule for those. But the wonderful thing, it is not a chat bot. It's not, it's online, but it's not virtual. There's a live tutor, just like you and I are speaking. I was over in the lab just the other day, and a student was taking microeconomics and needed help. And so even though we have tutors, live there, we didn't have someone for econ. And so they used BrainFuse and got a live economics tutor, and they were chatting back and forth using the whiteboard feature in BrainFuse. The great thing about BrainFuse is that students can access it 2 ways. They can access it going to the tutor website, which if you go to the portal page and you log in, you always will see as one of your options, library and tutoring. When you click on that, it'll direct you to the tutoring website. Students also can go into any of their Canvas classes and they'll see BrainFuse on the left-hand side of their navigation tree, and that will allow them to access BrainFuse. But once again, it has a host of support products, some group activities, students that would like to work collaboratively in a virtual setting can use their feature, and they have a whiteboard that students can interact with. And through that, we are piloting this semester students being able to schedule a virtual appointment with one of our full-time tutors here. So once again, we're piloting, and we'll see. We're working out some of the scheduling kinks with that, but so far so good. So our intention is that if a student was, taking online classes, but really just wanted to work with one of our tutors, which has a lot of benefits, of course, because they're familiar with the instructors and familiar with coursework. They could schedule a time Thursday afternoon at 2 p.m. And meet with that tutor. But fingers crossed, and we hope that we can expand upon that in the future semesters.
Perfect. Always expanding is good. Is there limitations on time? In person is only 8 to 6. Is this a 24/7 option for students?
This is 24/7. I know it's been advertised that students are capped at 400 minutes. We found this semester that we had some heavy users and then not so heavy users. So what we've done is expanded the minutes for all students, that students would not run into that. We had one student that needed a lot of help in chemistry. They were very motivated, and they were using BrainFuse to their fullest potential. And I didn't want that student to be prevented or to keep having to ask for extended minutes when we had plenty of minutes to give. So we have removed that. We do have some guardrails just to protect the department and the college's budget, just in case, but I don't foresee that really being an issue. And so BrainFuse you can access, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There are some specific subjects that have a limited schedule, but those are more for your upper division, probably math, science, nursing courses, accounting. Once again, kind of what we think of as the core classes, Comp 1, Comp 2, college algebra, so on and so forth. They have 24/7 tutors for that. We also offer another virtual product called Packback Writing Lab. What the Packback Writing Lab allows students to do is write in real time. It will actually prompt students to ensure that they are citing their work, that they have, gives them recommendations if there's for sentence structure, for grammatical errors. So it teaches students how to become better writers using this tool. And they access Packback Writing Lab also through the tutor website.
Where was that when I was in school? I was so bad. I would remember to cite things
I know
afterwards.
but the key, and that's why I'm so thankful that you invited me to do this program with you, because that's half the battle, is just getting the word out. We find that the students that know about BrainFuse and tutoring, they are not only do better academically. I think they have a lower level stress and anxiety about upcoming exams and assignments. They they obtain that academic confidence, and so just trying to get as many students aware that we offer these services. And it's not like you have to. Some students come in, when it's a tough module. And then some students come in at the beginning, some students come in at the end. We find usually, though, once they become a regular, they'll pop in time to time. If nothing else, just to say hello to their favorite tutor, which is always nice,
And then just to reinforce, any student has access to BrainFuse. Our, traditional students, our early college students in dual enrollment, online, everyone can get into that one.
Everyone can get into BrainFuse, and I will add that BrainFuse has not just tutoring; they also have a lot of test prep. So if a student is studying for, the SATs, ACTs, ASVAB, they have quite a few some of the medical pre-tests. So, it's a very robust system that offers, I always kind of think about it as one-on-one tutoring, but it has a lot more too. So students might be interested in some of those practice tests as well.
I didn't even know that was an option. That's perfect to know about. Thank you for sharing that one in there.
Yeah.
I used to work in the library, and I always loved watching the students come into the library to use the academic support center and use the light bulb moment. Is there any favorite light bulb moment where it finally clicked in for a student that sticks out to you
We had a
from working
student
within the
that,
library
yeah,
area?
I'll never forget this gentleman. Younger guy, he had served in the Middle East and just could do all that, but was very nervous, coming back to school. He wasn't by my standards, he was, barely out of elementary school, but but he thought he was, older, and was a little bit sheepish and uh, didn't want to admit that he didn't know something, and I totally understood that, and was nervous about going into the in this case, it started with the math tutoring, and he was taking one of our intro math courses, and we all get a little embarrassed when we can't do something, and so I tried to make it easy. I saw him working one day in the library, and so I kind of we developed a friendship, in the morning when he'd come in, I say hello. And so one day I walked him over and introduced him to the math tutor. And they got talking, and so had a few things in common, that kind of icebreaker. And so he had the student was named Kevin, had Kevin sit down and start doing his work. And Kevin realized it's not somebody just sitting with you all the time. You have a little bit of space, and allowed him to try first, and then the tutor would come around and give him some help. And next thing I know, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, when he had class, he would always come in before class, and then often he'd come in after class. And you could see that not only was he doing better academically, he was also, had more of a confidence, the academic confidence that a lot of our students, it's a skill. You have to acquire it, and so it was great to see. I also witnessed walking by that they'd have more and more conversations, so they developed. It was a good support system, I think, for this student, especially being unsure if this was the right environment place for him. In his walk of life. So I was glad to see that he knew that he belonged, and that he had people that wanted him to be successful, and he was provided those resources to be successful. So he went on and did excellent in that class, and now he's in college algebra in the fall. So fingers crossed, fingers crossed. But he's still going to tutoring, so we're off to a good start.
That's the best part. The sticking with it and going on is the best part to see. So one more time to reinforce. Every student from St. John's, whether you're on campus, online, dual enrollment, or are a post-secondary student, they all can come to the Academic Support Center.
All can come to the Academic Support Center, which is open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Then we also offer our 24-hour a day online tutoring via BrainFuse. And then we have a writing tool, if you will, called Packback Writing Lab. Both of those products or resources can be accessed via the tutoring website. And if you remember nothing from this, all students have to do is go log into Maestro State, look for the library tutoring link, and it's right at the top where they have all the other college departments. Click on that and you can't miss it. We've got a big banner about BrainFuse and a big banner about Packback Writing Lab. And then it also has, when you go to the tutoring website, it will provide when not only for those math and writing, but all those specific disciplines, when we offer those and at which campus. It also will provide you contact information. So if you wanted to call, if you wanted to contact a tutor, you would have that provided too. So the tutoring website is kind of your one-stop shop, I always say, for all things tutoring.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Virtually Viking, and thank you, Royce, for joining me.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
We hope you enjoyed our insightful discussion and about all the fantastic resources and services available from at St. John's River State College's Academic Support Center. I hope more students come in and visit. Please, students, remember to take advantage of all the resources that are available to you through that center. If you have any questions about today's topic or any other topic we've covered, or ideas for future topics, we'd love to hear from you. Please reach out to us at our email, virtuallyvikings@sjrstate.edu, or through any of the SJR State's social media channels. We'd love the feedback, and the suggestions are always welcome. Until next time, go Vikings!
Go Vikings.